It is finally happening. Gary Bettman will be relocating the Coyotes out of Arizona. Well, not actually in real life, but in NHL 24 he will be. And he has summoned down the greatest player of all time to play for the newest franchise of the NHL, which will be the Nebraska Wieners. And we have Ben Dover as the captain of the team. Not only is he going to lead them to a Stanley Cup, but he's also going to break records and wreak havoc over the NHL for the next 10 seasons, as Gary Bettman has set out a challenge for him. He has to win a Stanley Cup in 10 years with the Nebraska Wieners. He cannot make any moves. He just has to dominate the game. He also has to break records along the way and win awards, as he's going to be dominating the individual awards and breaking records that only Gretzky holds. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the Nebraska Wieners NHL roster here in NHL 24. Now, obviously, this roster is literally the Arizona Coyotes in real life. They have guys like Dylan Guenther, who's still very young, 20 years old, has a lot of potential. A high top 6 forward potential. We also have Clayton Keller, who's an 88 overall, going to be our second best player. Barrett Hayton can grow a little bit, as well as Logan Cooley. Obviously, Arizona is not the greatest team, and I believe they literally just got eliminated from the playoffs. No, actually, that was Anaheim, but Arizona will definitely follow shortly here. Connor Ingram's a decent goalie at an 85 overall, but this roster definitely will need improving over the seasons if we do want to take home a Stanley Cup with Ben as our best player. So we are going to go ahead here, and we have 10 full seasons here in franchise mode to win a Stanley Cup with this roster. Well, not exactly this roster, but this franchise in the Nebraska Wieners, as Gary Bettman is tired of the irrelevant Arizona Coyotes. He wants a franchise that he loves to be good in the NHL and actually win a Stanley Cup for once. I mean, he has Vegas. He's one of their favorite teams, but Arizona is a project that has not come to fruition. It's pretty much been a failure out there in the desert, but hopefully here in Nebraska, we can get things done. So let's go right into it, boys. Now, at the end of our very first season in the NHL, Nebraska is probably going to have a better record than Arizona ever had in their franchise's history, as we went 50, 24, and 8. Good enough for 108 points at the top of the Central Division. And we would end up being the 6th best team in all of hockey, only behind the Rangers, the Wings, fucking hell. We would end up finishing as the 6th best team in the entire NHL, behind the Rangers, Detroit, Carolina, Vegas, and Edmonton, who actually finished first with 55 wins. Ben Dover's going to absolutely dominate in his rookie season, 91 goals and 199 points. Shout out Wayne Gretzky. Followed by Clayton Keller's 81, Logan Cooley had 60, Nick Schmaltz was up there, Dylan Guenther, Lawson Krause. Again, this roster is not the greatest. Our goalie wasn't very good for the season, but we're not expecting him to be good. Hopefully the computer can make some moves, as Ben obviously is going to lead in goals with 91 and points with 199, followed by passes 112. Artemi Panarin was up there. Cale Makar had a great season. Nathan MacKinnon only 103. He's already like 20 points past that in real life. McDavid had 102. Now for the goal side, other than Ben, Matthews will have the most, or actually tied for the most alongside David Pasternak. They would each have 54 apiece. Alex Ovechkin at 45, Brock Nelson 44, Jack Hughes is up there. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Colorado Avalanche. Unfortunately, we got dominated by Colorado in 5 games in the very first round, as they went on and won the Stanley Cup, beating the Rangers in 5 games. They pretty much dominated the playoffs, so I'm not too embarrassed about that defeat. And is going to take home all the major individual awards. The Norris is going to go to Cale Makar, the Conn Smythe to Nathan MacKinnon, the Vezina to Andrei Vasilevsky, and the Selke will go to Ben Dover as well. I'm confident that we can build year after year, have a lot of players grow and be better. So it does not look like we picked up anybody over the offseason, but our players have grown. I mean, Clayton Keller's up to a 90, Dylan Guenther's an 84. This guy, I cannot pronounce this guy's last name. Mathis Maselli? I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name. Defensively, we didn't pick up anybody, and in goal, we're still rocking with Connor Ingram as our starter. Again, Nebraska is going to have a great season, going 49, 26, and 7, 105 points. They were the best team in the Central now for the entire NHL. The Oilers again finished first, this time with 56 wins, followed by the Rangers, Vegas, and Nebraska. So we are performing very well. At the bottom, we do have Seattle, Washington, and Minnesota. I'm sure Pittsburgh will not be far after the Capitals. Ben, yet again, is going to have a great season, 86 goals and 201 points, followed by Clayton Keller's 81 and 24 goals. This guy had 69, Logan Cooley had 63, Dylan Guenther didn't really produce that much, so offensively, we were pretty much carried by Ben. Obviously, Ben will lead in goals and points for the entire league, followed by Kyle Connor's 107, McDavid had 102, McKinnon was up there, William Nylander had 102 as well. Honestly, not a lot of offense in the NHL this season. Now, on the goal side, other than Ben, Matthews will lead with 64, followed by Kyle Connors, 51. Sam Reinhart had 47. He's probably going to get like 52 to 53 this season. David Pasternak had 47. Sharangovich was up there with 43. He's 26 years old, entering the prime of his career. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Dallas Stars, so a very tough matchup for round number 1. Well, it looks like it's not going to take us long at all to make the Stanley Cup Finals, as in only season number 2 of our franchise's existence, we're going to make it. We are up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, so let's see if Ben can lead the Nebraska Wieners to their very first Stanley Cup in their franchise's history. And the greatest player of all time in Ben Dover is going to lead the Nebraska Wieners to a Stanley Cup title in only his second season with the team. I mean, it is not going to take him long whatsoever. Did something that the Arizona Coyotes could only dream of, honestly, as the Nebraska Wieners are Stanley Cup champions in year number 2. We beat the Lightning in Game 7, dominated them in Game 7 as well. I think it was like 5-1 the score was. As of course, Ben is going to take home the Conn Smythe. 30 goals and 65 points for the playoff run. That is literally the greatest playoff run in the history of the NHL. It's not even close. A 30-goal season. I mean, Shorzy probably has something to say about that, but outside of him, nobody even compares to Ben, honestly. And there it is, the Stanley Cup about to be raised in Nebraska for the very first time ever. As here comes our captain, Mr. Ben, coming to lift it in only his second season with the team and his second season in the NHL, as the Nebraska Wieners are Stanley Cup champions for the first time in their franchise's history. Now, obviously, for the playoffs, Ben would be absolutely lights out. 30 goals and 65 points in only 24 games. A playoff record. This Maselli guy had 29. Braden Point had 28. Kucherov was up there. Logan Cooley had a pretty good playoff run himself, as well as Steven Stamkos. Again, Ben is going to take home pretty much every award known to man. The Norris is going to go to Adam Fox. The Conn Smythe to Ben. The Vezina will go to Stuart Skinner. And the Selke obviously went to Ben as well. Ben is still going to be a 99 overall. Keller's still a 90. Dylan Gunther's up to an 85. This team is slowly improving, even though we literally just won the Stanley Cup. So I don't know what we can improve on. Ben pretty much carried us the whole way. Defensively, we're still not great, honestly. And in goal, we're still rocking with Connor Ingram, who is an 85 overall. So this team is pretty mid, but a 99 overall player definitely helps us out in the simulation. Now, Nebraska is going to take a slight step back, I guess, in the regular season, as we only went 45, 32, and 5, 95 points, second in our division behind Colorado. And for the entire NHL, we would end up being not even close to top 10, as the Oilers again are dominating the regular season, but just cannot get it done in the postseason. Damn near 60 wins this year, and still no Stanley Cup for Connor McDavid. Now, Ben Dover is going to lead again, 87 goals, 194 points. Followed by Logan Cooley's 92 and 26 goals. Matthias Maselli is going to have 74. Keller at 70. Josh Doan is going to have 52, also 23 goals. Dylan Gunther damn near scored 30 goals on the season, as Connor Ingram's going to be a pretty mid goalie overall. Obviously, Ben is going to lead in goals with 87 and points with 194. Bedard came in second place with 121, followed by Quinn Hughes' 98. So we only had 2 100-point scorers in the entire NHL this season. Nylander had 97. Crosby was up there at 38 years old. Rantanen had 94. Now if we take a look at the goals, Bedard's going to come in second place behind Ben with 59. He's on an absolute tear. He's only 20 years old. His third season in the league. Braden Yeager had 46. Matthews 45. Pasta 43. Nylander 42. And Lavoie, who had 40 on the Oilers. Man, if Raphael Lavoie can ever score 40 goals for the Oilers, I'll literally die happy. In the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the St. Louis Blues. And just like that, we are back in the Stanley Cup Finals for a second straight season, this time up against the New York Rangers. So let's see if Ben can go back-to-back with the Nebraska Wieners taking home another Stanley Cup. And Ben Dover is going to do it along with the Nebraska Wieners going back-to-back, winning their second straight Stanley Cup with a video as we beat the Rangers in 6 games in the finals. And I mean, we're only in year number 3. The video is still very early on. We have a lot of time left to win more Stanley Cups. We already have 2, hopefully many more to come, as Ben is strictly just dominating the league at this point. I thought it would take us at least like 3 to 4 years before we even reach a Stanley Cup final. Ben gonna win the Conn Smythe again. Same exact stats as last season, 30 goals and 65 points. I don't really know what else to say at this point. The dude's the best of all time, the GOAT of all GOATs. And there it is, the Stanley Cup better be raised in Nebraska for the second straight season, as Ben Dover and the Nebraska Wieners are going to be able to celebrate this offseason yet again, as they are Stanley Cup champions. I don't think I've ever seen a Conn Smythe winner have the same exact stats for back-to-back playoff runs. Let's take a look here. He had 30 goals, 35 assists for 65 points. He was a plus 22 last season, or last playoff run. Now he's only a plus 12. In the exact same amount of games as well, 24 games played. That is crazy. Obviously, Ben Dover is going to take home all the individual awards. The Norris will go to Shea Theodore, the Conn Smythe to Ben, and the Vezina will go to Stuart Skinner of the Edmonton Oilers. Ben is still going to be chilling at a 99 overall. I have no idea why he's on the second line. That should not happen. Logan Cooley is all the way up at a 92. So he's growing a lot. This team, honestly, is just getting better and better year after year. Nebraska is going to have their best regular season of the entire video so far, as we went 59, 16, and 7, 125 points, the best in our division and the best in the entire NHL, followed by the Edmonton Oilers, Vancouver, Minnesota, and Boston. Ben is just on another planet, 91 goals and 205 points, followed by Clayton Keller's 98, Logan Cooley at 89, Dylan Gunther was up there at 85, so a lot more offense for the Arizona, actually the Nebraska Wieners, not the Coyotes. Ben again is going to lead in goals with 91 and points with 205. The next closest was literally 100 points below with David Pasternak, who had 105. McDavid also had 105. Nylander 99. Draisaitl was up there. Clayton Keller was up there with 98. Very good season by him. Also 34 goals. Speaking of goals, other than Ben, Pasternak is going to lead with 60, followed by Bedzies 52. Yeager had 43. Kucherov and Matthews were up there. Raphael Lavoie back-to-back 40-goal seasons. And this time in the first round, we are up against the Winnipeg Jets. And for the third season straight, we have made the Stanley Cup Finals, but this time we are up against the Boston Bruins. So we are looking for a three-peat. Boston obviously hasn't won a Stanley Cup in this video yet. So we are going to go on and see if Ben can pull off a three-peat here in Nebraska with the Wieners. And the Nebraska Wieners have done it. They have three-peated in the modern NHL. I don't think a team has done that since the Islanders in the 80s when they won 4 straight. But here in the 2020s, Nebraska and Ben are going to win 3 straight titles, 3 straight Stanley Cups, as we defeat Boston in 6 games in the finals, and we are by far the best team in the entire league. It is not even close. I mean, the roster is much improved from like 3 years ago, and we are literally just dominating every single season at this point. Obviously, the Conn Smythe, we already know, is going to go to Ben. This time, he only had 18 goals and 45 points, so not the same exact stats, but still, nonetheless, very, very dominant. As I believe this is our very first Stanley Cup victory on away ice. We won the first 2 at home, but now on the road in Boston, we are going to get the job done. Here is Ben for the 3rd straight season, coming to collect the Stanley Cup, as the Nebraska Wieners are yet again Stanley Cup champions. Ben is going to take home the Selke, Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. The Norris again to Shea Theodore for back-to-back seasons. The Conn Smythe as well to Ben for 3 straight seasons, as the Vezina is going to go to Nico Dawes. This team is literally unbelievably stacked. I will be shocked if we don't win a 4th straight Stanley Cup. Nebraska is going to dominate yet again, going 55, 21, and 6, the best in the Central, and I believe the entire NHL, followed by the New Jersey Devils. Tampa Bay was up there. Florida was good, as well as the Anaheim Ducks. I mean, we are 5 years in at this point, so they're probably a much different team. Ben is going to have his best season of the video so far, 109 goals and 207 points. I mean, 109 goals is literally by far an NHL record. Followed by Josh Doan, who had 98 points and 46 goals. Clayton Keller had 88, Maselli had 88, and Logan Cooley 86. So our offense is firing on all cylinders. For points, other than Ben, Kucherov is going to lead with 118, followed by Yeager's 106. Brayden Point was up there. Jack Hughes had a pretty good season, as well as Doan. And on the goal side, Yeager is going to score 61 on the season. 23 years old, scoring 61 goals in the NHL is no joke. Followed by Pasta, who had 52, Doan 46, Mishkov had 46, Matvey Mishkov finally in the NHL. Lavoie had 45. He's a goal-scoring machine on Edmonton. Holy hell. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Chicago Blackhawks. And again, no surprise here, 4 years in a row, we have made the Stanley Cup Finals, this time up against the Tampa Bay Lightning, looking to tie the New York Islanders with 4 straight Stanley Cups. Will Bendover be able to do it? I don't have those answers, but we are definitely going to find out right now. And it would not even be close. We were up 3-1 in the series, and we finished them off in 6. Pause, as we have won our 4th straight Stanley Cup, tying the Islanders. Maybe we can go for 5 straight next season. Now for the playoffs, Ben is going to have 21 goals and 56 points in 25 games. Doan had 26, Keller 23, Logan Cooley was up there, as well as Dylan Gunther. Again, Mr. Ben is going to do his thing. The Norris is going to go to Josh Morrissey, the Conn Smythe to Ben, and the Vezina Trophy will go to Spencer Knight of the Florida Panthers. The Nebraska Wieners are literally a super team at this point. We got Ben, Logan Cooley, and Clayton Keller on that first line, a 91, 99, and 91. Our second line, I believe, is the exact same. Defensively, we did pick up Dmitry Simashev. He's an 89 overall, still very young, 23 years old. And in goal, we're rocking with this Michael Harabel guy, who's an 86 overall. This team, I don't know who is going to stop this roster. Nebraska, again, is going to dominate the regular season. This time, we went 52, 24, and 6, 110 points at the top of the Central. And we were the second best team in the entire league, only behind Anaheim. Bendover is going to have 98 goals and 188 points, followed by Maselli's 89. Maselli's 89, Jesus, Jane Doan. Bendover is going to have 98 goals and 188 points, followed by Maselli's 89, Doan had 81, Gunther 78, Dursey at 67. Obviously, Ben is still going to lead in goals with 98 and points with 188, followed by Nathan McKinnon's 108. Matthews had 106, Tim Stutzlo was up there, Jesper Bratt had a 100-point season, Cole Caulfield and Jack Hughes as well. Those were all the 100-point seasons in the entire league. Now on the goal side, Matthews is going to come in second place behind Ben with 58, Mishkov had 49, past to 49, Jason Robertson was up there. Cole Caulfield had 47. As we are going to end up playing the San Jose Sharks in the very first round. Yet again, we are back in the Stanley Cup Finals for the 5th consecutive season, going for the record or beating the record of the New York Islanders, who obviously won 4 straight. We won 4 straight as well in a much tougher era, but now let's see if we can go on and win our 5th straight Stanley Cup. And the Nebraska Wieners have done it. 5 straight Stanley Cups here in NHL 24, as Ben has led them to literally all 5. We relocated the Coyotes, changed the entire culture. We brought Ben in. He made them a winning team. And now we have won 5 straight, beating the Islanders, who won 4 straight back in the 80s. But we're doing it in a much, much tougher era, as Ben is going to take home the Conn Smythe. 24 goals and 68 points for him. Absolutely electric the entire playoff run. As yet again, the Stanley Cup is going to be raised in Nebraska. Here comes Mr. Ben, the greatest player of all time, coming to lift the Stanley Cup for the 5th time in his career, as we yet again are going to take home the Stanley Cup at the end of the season for the 5th straight season. Again, Ben is going to take home all the major individual awards. The Norris is going to go to Olin Zellweger, the Conn Smythe to Ben, the Vezina to Stuart Skinner again. He's won 3 Vezinas in the past 5 seasons. Are you kidding me? This is a very, very stacked roster. They got Bendover on the 3rd line as the center at a 99 overall. What is the coach doing right now in Nebraska? Are we smoking that good Nebraskan weed? Like, what is going on? As Stephen A. Smith once famously said, stay off the weed. Somehow the Nebraska Wieners keep on improving, as we have our best regular season of the video, going 63, 16, and 3. Good enough for 129 points. Obviously the best in our division and the best in the entire league. Nobody is even close. We won the past 5 straight Stanley Cups. Like, who is going to compete with us? Ben is going to dominate as usual. 96 goals and 211 points, followed by Doan's 91. Butt had 84. Daniel Butt is the newest member of the Nebraska Wieners. 84 points on the season as well. Clayton Keller had 83. Maselli had 69. As Ben, of course, is going to lead in scoring with 211 points, followed by Macklin Celebrini, who had 117. He's on the Montreal Canadiens. Jack Hughes had 111. Matthews 109. And Nylander's 108. On the goals side, Matthews and Celebrini are going to tie at 57 goals apiece, obviously behind Ben. Pasternak at 56, Bedard 48, and Jack Hughes is 45. And we are going to have the Chicago Blackhawks in round number 1. And somehow the Blackhawks would end up defeating us in Game 7 of the very first round, as Toronto will go all the way, winning the Stanley Cup. I got to be honest, I got used to winning it every single season. And over again is going to take home every award known to man. The Norris is going to go to Quinn Hughes, who is now on the Dallas Stars. The Conn Smythe to Matthew Nyes, and the Vezina will go to Harabel, who is on the Nebraska Wieners, our starting goalie. Somehow this team just continues to get better and better year after year. Somehow we are literally loaded top to bottom, at least forwards wise. We also have Simashev and Dursey on the back end, and in goal we are rocking with Harabel, who's a 91 overall goaltender. Nebraska again is going to win over 50 games in the regular season, as we went 51, 26, and 5, 107 points. Now for the entire NHL, Montreal was the best team, followed by Nebraska, Florida, Edmonton, and Ottawa. Ben is going to have 99 99 goals, shout out Wayne Gretzky, and 208 points, followed by Logan Cooley's 94, Butt had 90, also 30 goals, Doan had 72, Gunther 70, as Harabel is going to go 42, 20, and 3 shutouts, and not really the greatest stats. Obviously, yet again, Bendover is going to lead in goals with 99 and points with 208. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Winnipeg Jets. And just like that, we are back in the Stanley Cup Finals, this time up against the Ottawa Senators. So let's see if we can go on and win our 6th Stanley Cup of the entire video. And we are going to get the job done in Game 7 over the Senators as we go on. And that is our 6th Stanley Cup of the entire video, which is crazy. We still have 2 more years left to go. For the playoffs, Ben is going to have 21 goals and 58 points in only 23 games. As we already know, he takes home every award. The Norris is going to go to Brant Clark, the Conn Smythe to Ben, and the Vezina will go to Aiden Hill. And of course, obviously, Ben is still going to be a 99 overall, surrounded by absolute elite talent. Also, boys, we are going to be dropping merch very soon on this channel. There will be a link to a website that you can go to and purchase all the past merch that you want. We'll have hoodies and t-shirts starting off. Depending on how it does, we might bring in some more hats. I will have a lot of ideas, but make sure to stay tuned for that because that will be coming very, very soon. I will announce it on TikTok, in my Discord. I'll even make a community post on YouTube. The Nebraska Wieners are going to finish the regular season with a record of 56, 19, and 7, 119 points, the best in our division and the best in the entire NHL, followed by Montreal. Edmonton was up there, Carolina, and Philly. Man, the Oilers have been like top 5 the entire video and have not won a Stanley Cup yet, I don't think. Ben is going to end up having 92 goals and 204 points, followed by Maselli's 105, only 25 goals, but 80 assists. Bud had 84. Also 31 goals. Doan had 71. Keller 68. Let's take a look at our goalie here. 37, 11, and 7. 2 shutouts and pretty okay stats, I guess. Obviously, Ben is still going to lead in goals with 92 and points with 204. And it was literally not even close. Now, in the first round of the playoffs, we have the St. Louis Blues. He would end up losing a heartbreaking Game 7 defeat to the Edmonton Oilers as the Carolina Hurricanes will beat the Oilers in the finals in Game 7. It's 2006 all over again. Now, for the playoffs, Ben is going to have 21 goals and 46 points in only 19 games. Still absolutely dominant at 28 years old. And, of course, is going to win all the awards. The Norris is going to go to Hudson. The Conn Smythe, or actually the Calder will go to Karazini. Ben is going to win the Selke, Ted Lindsay, Maurice Richard, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. The Norris is going to go to Hudson, the Conn Smythe to Svechnikov, and the Vezina will go to George. We are now in the final season of Bendover's career with the Nebraska Wieners. We already by far completed the Gary Bettman Challenge to win at least one Stanley Cup to Nebraska, but maybe we have one more in us, boys. Who knows? Let's go ahead and find out. Now for the final season, Nebraska is going to finish with a record of 56, 17, and 9. Best in the Central, and of course, best in the entire NHL as a whole. Bendover is going to have his best season of the video so far, 131 goals and 241 points. Obviously, unbelievable feats that nobody has ever matched before other than maybe Wayne Gretzky. Ben is going to lead in goals at 131 and points with 241. As we head into our final playoff run, in round number 1, we get a tough out with the Colorado Avalanche, although we're like 10 years into this point, so their team could be much, much different. And we would end up making the Stanley Cup Finals, but unfortunately, we lost in 5 games to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Ben in the playoffs is still going to have 29 goals and 62 points in only 21 games. Dynamite until the very end. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Bendover not only completed the Gary Bettman Challenge, but he absolutely shattered it. I mean, we won 6 Stanley Cups and 6 Conn Smythe trophies. We also won the individual awards pretty much every single season, I believe. So let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next. I would like to say thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.